Mr. President, colleagues, Gina was 22 years old when she was killed for not wearing her headscarf properly. Aduk Rzal was 17 when he skipped school to take part in protests in Iran and was killed. Minoo was 62. At her gravesite, her daughter stood with her head shaved and bare. These are three of an estimated more than 300 who have been killed because they stood up for their right to determine their own life, including at least 40 children. Way more than 15,000 have been arrested, and the Iranian regime is now threatening protesters with the death penalty. And why? Only because these women, men, and children want to enjoy the rights we all want to enjoy, to live in dignity and without discrimination. That is why, prior to today, we have spoken to everyone in this room of you representing your states to hear your views and your voices. Some have told us that we should not single out one country. I hear you. The United Nations were founded to protect the sovereignty of every state. But a regime that uses this power to violate the rights of its own people is violating the values of our United Nations. The High Commissioner and the Special Rapporteur has just made this very clear. What these rights are is not upon anyone's interpretation. These rights are stated here in black and white in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Iran is a state party. I quote Article 19, the right to hold opinions without interference. I quote Article 21, the right of peaceful assembly. I quote Article 2, the respect of all people's rights without distinction of any kind, such as gender or political opinion. On many occasions, we have called upon Iran to respect these rights, to stop the violent crackdown on protesters, the bloodshed, the arbitrary killing, the mass arrests, the death penalties. The only answer we received was more violence, more death, along with Iran's continuing refusal to give the United Nations Special Rapporteur access to the country, as we have just heard. That is why we are now proposing that an independent and impartial UN mechanism to be established to investigate these human rights violations so that those responsible can be held accountable. Because impunity prevents justice. Justice for sisters, justice for sons, justice for mothers. They have names: Gina, Aduk Rzal, Minoo. Today is about them. Today is also a test of our courage here in the United Nations, about our courage to speak out. We each represent our state, but we also represent millions of men, women, and children. So I call on you, be the voice of these, of our people of the United Nations. As they sing in Iran, for dancing in the street, for women, life, freedom, for our human rights.